Welcome to the Men on Purpose podcast, featuring dynamic conversations with emerging and established visionary men on purpose. Thanks for joining us today as we celebrate the men on purpose who are committed, creative, courageous changemakers, living their best, most fulfilling life possible. Now, here's the host of Men on Purpose, Ian Lobas.
All right, everybody, it is time. Another Frontrunner edition today. And as you can hear, I've got a better microphone.
We both do.
We both do. So it's Aaron and Ian coming at you live. And I know that sounds like a weird DJ thing, but that's what we feel like right now with this new equipment. We got a Rodecaster Pro mixing board. We've got some pro mics, and it elevates the excitement of doing an episode.
Live from Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah. So today, as you know, Aaron and I are making these episodes together, a regular thing on the show, because we've gotten so much feedback of how beneficial they are and how people just love to be a fly on the wall in our conversations. Now you're just going to hear, I mean, we probably have 50 pieces of content, 50 different topics we're going to talk about. And we're just calling these the Frontrunner episodes, or the Frontrunner edition, because Aaron and I have a company called Frontrunner where we do masterminds and high-level events that take you to a place deep down inside and break you free to be able to live that life that you want. That's like the simplest version. They're very simple. They're very involved. However, the one thing that we have as a mission in the Frontrunner business is that you will break through, right? That you will break through, and that it's different than other events and masterminds and group programs and coaching stuff, because we have a mission, which is the weekend that you join us, you'll remember that weekend forever. And that's our goal. That's our guarantee, is that is the weekend when you actually shift both who you are and what you're doing and turn into that purposeful person, both in skills, habits, actions, intentions, mindset. Everything about you becomes more intentional, and your life shifts in that weekend that you spend with us. And that's our guarantee. And I know that's kind of salesy, but that's real. That's real for us. And we put our heart and soul and our asses behind that. And it's really rewarding. It's really rewarding. So today, because it's November, we're going to get into goal setting and planning for 2021, because you see, I'm not looking at the mic anymore. I'm looking at the camera. We're going to get into goal planning and goal setting, because listen, 2020 has been a very interesting or extraordinary year. And it's been extraordinary because whatever your mindset is, it's been extraordinary. If you think it sucked, it's been extraordinarily bad. If you think it's been awesome, it's been extraordinarily great. I think it's been extraordinarily great. We've built some amazing things this year, cleared a lot of stuff out that was holding me back, and so have you. And we want to make sure that if you're listening to this content, obviously you know what our guarantee is, and our promise on this show, on Men on Purpose show, is that we are going to constantly elevate, educate, evolve, and just level this thing up with our content and with our knowledge and our education. We're going to give you everything we've got at the highest level. As we continue to grow every single day, you'll get our best. So that's our guarantee. So today, we're going to talk about goals.
Goals. Yes.
Goals. Oh, I wonder if I have, hold on, ready? Check this out. Oh, everybody's excited about goals. I have so many buttons in front of me with sound effects from this Rodecaster. It is, it's awesome.
If you are not watching the video version of this, you'll be elated to know that Ian is like a small child.
Yeah.
There are so many colors and buttons.
Ooh.
That all of his fingers are like animated, and he's trying to twist the knobs and make things happen.
Yep.
Neither of us know what the buttons do.
Oh, I do. I know everything about this. Okay. I am completely purposeful in my actions here.
Right.
That's not true. That's not true. I did practice with this over the weekend, and I think I know what I'm doing.
Yep. Well, that's how it always starts.
Yeah. We just need some Some boom.
Yeah, some reps. We'll get some lights next time.
Yeah.
Bring
Dude,
out the whole.
in 6 months from now, we will have an entire studio with lighting. Like, it's going to be.
I have lighting.
But
Also,
we don't need all that.
I feel like at that point, I'll just move out. This will just be the permanent studio.
That's right.
But
we'll have my basement. Dude, next week, my whole studio, my basement. Now you're coming to my house.
I'm in. First of all, goals. Let's get this conversation.
True. All right. Sorry. All right. You started off. So Aaron has a really, really, really interesting way of goal setting through lead and lag measures that have helped me considerably. So this is that pen and paper moment that I always talk about. Pay attention. If you're working out right now, listen to it once, but go back and listen to it again, because what he's about to drop is going to help you actually nail these goals and make them realistic instead of being a pie in the sky idea that you have. All right, hit it.
Well, let's start with a bit of a story. I hated goals, absolutely hated goals. And all the way from the day I left college to maybe 2014. So, a couple years went by, 5 years went by. I was such a gypsy because I unsubscribed to this idea that in order to be successful, you had to build these achievement goals. And a part of that really, I think, began when I noticed the people around me set achievement goals and then compromise their entire identity to make them happen.
Yeah.
So this might be the guy that goes for the money, goes for the business, goes for the car, and has to change his whole character to fit this new objective. Yeah. And
back up for a second. Why wouldn't somebody, or why is it non-serving to change your character to serve the goals?
It's just backwards thinking. What we do with Frontrunner, and what I think both you and I have experienced, is that if we're purposeful, we have a mission. Go back and watch that episode.
Yep.
We've got a mission, we've got vision, we've got purpose, and those things drive us forward, and our character evolves to meet those conditions. If we're setting goals based on vanity and based on
ego,
the ego and this sort of quote unquote American narrative of what success is, then we're actually moving further away from mission, vision, purpose than we intend usually. But I also think that the character that we see people evolve into, while it may fit the movie screens and get a ticket sale,
yep.
If we deeply look at some of those personas, they're not the husband, they're not the father, they're not the friend, they're not the leader, they're not the visionary that we actually deeply want to be. And if you can get someone out of the space of seeking achievements to validate who they are and validate who they think others should see in them,
yeah,
usually those objectives melt in the first place. I would say that most men, I'm all about a Ferrari. Ferrari sounds awesome. It's probably a lot of fun to drive a Ferrari, but you don't drive it to Giant, right? You don't drive it to Mom's or Whole Foods,
right?
Because there's an expense, not financial, just you're gonna park in a parking garage where there's no space to park. There's so many other things to worry about, right? So then you think about, okay, what's the Ferrari doing for me? And if you're a true car enthusiast, maybe you'd like to work on it. Maybe you'd like to spruce it up. Maybe you'd like to go to the track on the weekends. But I have to be honest, if I got a Ferrari, most of the reason I would get a Ferrari, especially then, was so that people would look at me and value me differently than I valued myself.
So the goal, that's what you're saying, is there's no alignment, congruency with, so the Ferrari becomes the goal. I used to have a private jet goal and a 100-foot yacht goal, which is still going to be awesome someday, except I don't need that to make me who I am.
Right.
I need that, or I want that because I just want it, because that's something I'd like to experience and enjoy.
Now, I think there's kind of a bell curve, right? So you start on one side and you want it to impress, to attract,
yeah,
et cetera. And then you go through the healing and the work that takes you through a lot of complexity, and you come out on the other side, and you may still want the object. I may still want a Ferrari, but the reason I want it is completely different. And my attachment to it is almost non-existent.
Right.
So if it happens, great. Doesn't happen, I'm still happy. And when I saw people set goals and watched what it did to their happiness,
yeah,
and their personality and their relationship with others, I felt that it wasn't for me. And somebody at one point said something about, it was a mentor of mine. He said, look, what you measure grows. So you have to start setting goals and benchmark yourself. And it took me 2 years of failing to set the right goals to realize that it wasn't that I had gone into this goal setting process without experience. I mean, I was an athlete. I could set these benchmarks and press for results and PRs, but there was something about my way of setting goals and my way of going about goals that was mirroring just what I had seen. I didn't know any different.
Like an Instagram,
completely,
luxury Instagram feed or one of those success,
It's like set the goal, set the target. It's like, got an acronym of nine letters that you're supposed to remember.
Right.
But the possibility that exists for people, and, I just want you to listen in real quick. The possibility that exists for people is to set goals that creates a better, more aligned you in the future. And that
Say it
goal,
again.
a possibility exists for you to set goals that creates a better and more aligned you in the future. And the only way that that's possible is to observe the process of becoming as the goal. You might need to go back.
Yeah, I was going to say, rewind that because that's pretty deep.
The process of becoming should be the target. So rather than setting the benchmark, the goal, and way in the future, I want to buy a Ferrari, etc., could we all, as men and women, think about, I want to become the person and identify who that person is and make the step by step, the day after day, the long-term commitment to going that route. If that's your goal, I will bet any amount of money that you're going to be successful.
Yeah. And I think that's why people set these crazy goals. Like, we know plenty of people that have set goals 4 or 5 years ago and they still haven't hit them, and they're still on the journey because they haven't become the person that can actually achieve that goal. And even if they did, we talk about this in Mission, it's not sustainable over time. And so what we're talking about here is setting incremental goals that help you achieve something, but really it's helping you level up who you are and who you're being to actually get those things accomplished. Then instead of you getting to that next level and holding on for dear life, you're actually standing on that level with solid footing and foundation to know, like, I'm here, I did this, I achieved this goal, and this is who I am today, perfectly matched with this goal. Now my next phase is this level. I want this. This is who I need to become to get that in a sustainable format. These are the habits that I need. This is what I need to release and let go of. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you actually have to eliminate and let go of a lot of stuff to be able to hit the next level of your goals or of your ambitions or whatever you want to call them, because who you are today can't get that. You might be able to stretch. You might be able to really push hard and, crush it, which is just not the whole crush it and grind it. That's not for me. I did all that and I burned myself out and I burned relationships out, and I wasn't happy with who I was. When I achieved the goal, I remember I felt empty and I was like, wow, I just worked for a whole year to hit this, and it doesn't even matter. But now, through your system of lag and lead measures, I've been able to match. So when the goal gets hit, I'm like, of course it does, because I'm now the person that can maintain and sustain that goal. I can hit next goals. I can do this. You're building your mind, right? You're training your brain. You're not just training your brain to crush it, which is how burnout happens. And that's how incongruency in every other area of your life happens, which is you crushed it over here, but you let go of all these other things, relationships, your health, your fitness, whatever. Like we're talking about leveling up in all those different areas of your life and creating habits in all those to hit goals in all of them. That's how you have the whole life that you'd like to have.
Dude, so two things come up when you share this, because I think you just smacked another home run out of here. There's two things missing when you set an achievement goal. And I think all of us have done this, right? We come up with some amazing feat that we want to hit, something we always dreamed of, or something that we know that people around us will celebrate. And we etch it into like a tree, and we're like, I'm all about this.
This is happening.
And you talked about like the waste gate. I mean, the waste gate for some of these achievement goals is huge.
Yeah.
But there's also, I think there's a frontal loss, and that's you get to a point where you're like, what's next?
Yep.
And the what's next is a puzzling question, simply because if you've ever gotten somewhere, worked really hard to get there, and then gotten to what's next, it's like falling off of a cliff. And there's just almost no end to that
right,
fall.
Right.
I mean, you can get lost in, I mean, this happens all the time. Like artists, athletes, right? They hit an accolade and they're like, I don't know
What's
to
next.
do now.
Yeah. What else?
And there's a lot of like circular momentum that is lost in just this huge pitfall. And if you know someone that has hit their financial numbers, right, they're now financially free, dude, that's a point where you're like, I don't know what to do now.
Right.
And if you haven't given it any thought, you've been so focused on getting this goal hit, now you're somewhere, you're lost.
Yeah.
Right. And so there are two real big premises of this system. So the first of them is, rather than thinking what's next, the system forces you to think about what's forward. And again, this is kind of back to becoming, rather than thinking, well, I'm going to hit this and then I'm going to enter the puzzle zone. Instead, we're going to think about, what do I need to consistently do to evolve so that my person becomes, and now all I have to worry about is what's forward. And the second thing it forces you to do is to think about, what inputs can I measure that will ultimately pull me towards this new kind of person, this new being and new becoming. And I think the beauty of this, in the way that it's helped clients and students and mentees, is that it really encourages us to measure what matters. And when you measure what matters, you're going to get a very, very different life.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing I thought about when you were talking was, we actually, in our front runner event 2 weeks ago, in every other event that we've done, in speaking engagements that we've done, and in coaching that you and I do together to help other people, I always tell people, they'll say, I just need to get to this next level and then I'll be good. I need to get, and everybody who's listening, I know you've said this before, and if you're on the beginning of your journey, you're lucky, because you will learn, hopefully from us. If we can make any impression on you, you'll learn from us, and you won't have to go through that mindset and then shift out of that. Because that's sort of society, that's schooling, that's the BS, the sort of the facade of how this thing runs. But when you get into the actual application behind the scenes, that's not how it runs. It's just not how it runs. And so if you say, well, if I just get to this level, I'll be good, or I'll have time for my family, or I'll have time for this, or I'll take care of myself at that point, or I'll start saving money when I make another $10,000 a month, or whatever it might be, then all you've done is build yourself into who you've become, is a person that always looks to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. You'll never be fully fulfilled or satisfied, and that's a problem. Maybe not for you. It was for me. Because I remember I hit some very, very big goals, and it's like running on a treadmill. Like, you literally get on the treadmill, you don't warm up, you just crush that thing at 10 miles an hour or whatever, and you're running as fast as your legs will take you. And then all of a sudden, like, someone pulls the plug out, and you've hit you said, oh, I'm going to run 3 miles, but I got to get this done now. I'll do weights later. I'll do this later. I'll take care of my body later. I'll just crush these runs. I just need to get the run done. And then the plug's out, and you kind of look around and you go, well, what the hell was that for? I didn't learn anything. I didn't grow.
You didn't really go anywhere.
Right. So there is that treadmill analogy too, but it's still the brain going, but brain learns in increments. It doesn't learn in these big leaps. It actually is very simple. And that's why Aaron and I keep our coaching very, very, very simple. The things that we've learned and the way that we condense it and dilute it down, it seems simple, but it's not. It's very complicated in its back end, but we keep it simple because you need to keep it simple. Your brain doesn't want super complicated. And so if you become the person that crushes it and chases and pushes all the time to seek these, level 8 or level 10 goals, but you haven't understood level 1 through 7 or level 1 through 9, and actually train the brain to level up and built the habits of a level 1, a 2, a 3, you're not going anywhere, and you will fall. And I have been through that, and it sucks. It sucks. But that's why most professional athletes, there's I forget what book it is, but it says, like, to get to a 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 figure mindset, you got to go through a 3, 4, 5, and 6 figure mindset and learn the habits of a 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 figure mindset person. Basically who you become is a person that has this money, can achieve this, and then you step up to the next goal. When, a guy who's 21 years old goes from making $8,000 a summer working at McDonald's to making $6 million, there's too much gap in there. So when the new feeling wears off, when everything, all the lights get turned off, your slide is back down to 4 figures. And that's the same for any type of learning out there, personal development, crushing goals in business. So that's why Aaron's system is really, I found it to be spectacular. And it's really helped me this year. I've really incorporated it. It helps you level who you're being and what you're doing, and subsequently what you're achieving, as a nice little positive cycle.
So let's talk about it.
Go ahead.
So
we need a whiteboard.
I feel like I need I just need an Iron Man screen that's like 3D. That's what I need. Can we make this happen? Studio crew. Oh, that's it. That's it. We got to make something cool out of these buttons.
Iron Man screen appear. or it could be a unicorn that just appeared, whatever, or a rainbow.
So the principle that this all lives on is uncovering why beneath why beneath why beneath why. So it's like a 6-layer cake. And when we start with this process of taking the why down that deeply, the most amazing things happen. So let me give you a concrete example of that. Let's say that any one of you listening is like, you know what, Aaron, I want $2 million in my savings account so that I can retire, right? So retire would be the first why. Well, my follow-up question is going to be, why do you want to retire? And that question might be riddled with a bunch of things that we have to cut through. But we might end up at, well, I don't really like working. Okay. Why don't you like working? Well, I want to spend more time with family. So now we're down to 3. Well, why do you want to spend more time with family? Well, I think that, my time is short, or, I really want to create some memories. So cool. We're going to create some memories. As we go further and further down this, we get to discover priorities, and we get to discover why the priorities exist. And in the stream of consciousness that we're going, we might discover that this individual wants to create memories with his kids, so that beyond him passing on money to his kids when he goes, he's actually giving away something much more important: his lessons, his experience, his knowledge, his love, his joy. So we might end up at a point where this individual wants to spend time with family. But if you look at his goals have all been centered around coming up with this $2 million. And it's impossible for them to exist simultaneously, right? This would be like trying to go left and right at the same time. It doesn't work. And what we work really diligently to do through Frontrunner events and some other coaching is to help someone align their goals more effectively. The way that works is this. We have 2 different pillars. We have leads and we have lags. And those lags, I love thinking about this because it just always gets me so excited. So lags are the things that we do on a regular basis without fixation on the outcome. Wait, did I get that right? No, I didn't. The leads,
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
The leads are the things that we do without expectation of an outcome. The lags are the results of our leads. And we draw a big, huge line in the middle. And our goals are going to be predominantly centered around our leads. So let's think of this example where this gentleman wants to connect more deeply with his kids. If you think about his process before, you might say, well, his leads are going to be all centered around making money. And even more importantly, his lags are going to be all about making money. Lags are our outcomes, right? Our results. If we reposition his leads and start tracking and building the system of becoming, so that this individual has lunch every single day with his son and breakfast every day with his niece, and once a week has a family cookout, now his leads are aligned with who he wants to become. He will indefinitely start shifting internally and definitely shift externally. And as that happens, you'll see that his leads start to pull him towards a new set of lags, a new set of outcomes. And that outcome will ultimately be that the individuals around him, his family, start to see him as a family person.
Yeah.
His identity has to shift. And the leads that he's going to build to become that person are incredibly narrow. Whereas the leads that he may make to make $1 million may compromise everything else he wants. And let's use another simple example. If someone tells me they want to be fit, they might tell me that they want a lag. I want to be 180 pounds. But they never may consider that there are tremendous leads that have to happen on a regular basis in order for that the outcome to be achieved. So that, in 3 simple ways, it's going to be what you eat, how much you move, and are you in the gym? And if you're doing those things, you're probably going to get the outcome. Most of us tend to track our lags. So we go for the goals. We go for $2 million. We track our income. We track our sales. We track all these things that come from actions that we are not tracking. And when you get hyper specific on tracking your leads, track your diet, you track your movement, you track your gym time, you track your family time, you track, I track my social posts. I track the number of times I take a Duolingo lesson. Like, there are specific leads that I am very diligent on, because I know that as a lag, I will become the person that I want to become.
So back up for 1 second. This is the, I want to make $2 million is the lag. I want to make $100,000 this year is the lag.
It's a lag.
You can do everything you want to make $100,000, but what Aaron's saying is, you have just gotten to the goal of making that $100,000. But what you've completely negated or forgotten about was who you need to become to hold on to that 6-figure income and then get to the next level to set the next goal. That's why people just cycle. Well, I made 100,000 and then I had a crappy year, and then I was on track, and then the economy, and then I was on track and the COVID, and I was on track. And it's this shit cycle that just rounds and rounds and rounds. What he's saying is, when you become the person that can consistently make $100,000 a year, to set a goal to make 200,000 or 250,000, you have set a new benchmark and a new foundation to work off of. If you make 100,000 once, and then you say, well, I'm going to go for 250, but you have not become the person in your self-care, self-love, your relationships, your communication, your personal development, then you will be working from wherever you started to get to the 100,000. So if you started from 50 grand, instead of building yourself into that person to be who you needed to be to make that 100,000 in a consistent and sustainable manner, you'll start from 50 grand to go to 200. But if you build everything about yourself, like Aaron's saying, tracking just like the Duolingo to learn Portuguese, or the amount of social posts, then you have now set a foundation of 100,000 is now your benchmark. Now you're working from 100 to 200. You're not slipping back to 50. But if you do slip back, you know exactly what measures to tweak, and you know exactly who you need to be or who you weren't being that caused the deficit or the lack of the goal hit. Super simple. I mean, that's simple.
It's simple, and for many people, it's hard, right?
You got to be the person that can achieve the goal. It's not about the goal of making 100 grand. It's about becoming the person that can consistently and sustainably make $100,000 a year.
Big time. Look, if you want to make more money and you're in a sales position, that is a full lag outcome.
Yeah.
That, like, you have very little control over that, quite honestly. That's very dependent on someone else making a choice. Now, you can do everything right and they can still say no. However, the lead that is important is going to be how many times are you ringing somebody's phone and how many times are you emailing somebody. Those are the leads.
Well, there's also the who you are lead,
100%.
which is the big one.
How are you asking? How are you approaching?
Right.
What kind of energy do you have when you're
where are you coming? Yeah, how are you coming from? Yeah, exactly.
Totally. And those, I want to position you guys where you understand this enough to deploy it. If you are looking at your life as a series of lags, the position you're in, the job you have, the family you have, they're all based on what has been happening, the activities at a small level.
Mostly default activities, by the way. Mostly default.
Completely off radar. If you now put every single process that you're deploying under the microscope and choose different processes, your outcomes, I guarantee you, will shift. And if you come to me and say, hey, I want to start a business and become a successful entrepreneur, we have to build specific leads. You have to become a certain person. And that specific person may need to get up, may need to have a morning routine. You may need to track that. You may need to start reading. You may need to start following a mentor, hiring a coach,
right.
coming to like those are all important leads for you to become the person that you want. But if you sit here and tell me over and over and over that you're not getting the lags that you want, or that you've got this ambitious lag, but don't understand how to cycle it, or you don't know how to cycle it back to here's what I need to do to make it happen, then we have to have a serious conversation about your process.
And about, again, who you are. This is not rocket science. And I used to think it was. This isn't rocket science. This is total, simplistic, take it down to the bare minimum stuff. You don't have to read 1,000 books on business. In fact, the way that I've become more successful in business is more personal development. And then who I become as I stage up, it helps me understand and comprehend, be more compassionate to people's needs, listen instead of like just kind of talking at people, but listen and hear them at the same time. So that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
This deeply shifted my entire life. I've now got, I mean, you guys watching the video can see, like, this is how I track my day, my week, my month, my quarter. I've also got a spreadsheet where I track all the things that are priorities to me. And some of those things may seem trivial, right? I have like how many times I'm visiting a new city, because the person I'm becoming is a traveler,
right, and
is world versed. Another one is language, right? Taking Duolingo lessons and practicing conversations. Social posts are one, but I've got things that, like, leads that I measure that are like how many times I meet a random person and give a book away. And that has more to do with not who I am, but who I want to make sure I'm becoming. And that person is not only kind and generous, but is attentive to someone else. Like I would rather be interested than interesting.
Yeah.
So if I meet someone and they're like, dude, I'm learning, like they're on a plane next to me or a train, and I'm talking to them and they're like, I'm really interested in, I don't know, like sound and making music. I'm like, I got a great book that you need to read.
Yeah.
Give me your address. I know it's weird. Give me your address. I'm going to send you the book. I don't want anything back. That is more about me shifting into who my future self is than now. And that's a simple lead. That's not hard. It's very simple. Yeah. Can I just meet someone and be like, hey, I'd like to buy you a book? Like $12. Spend more than that on fast food,
right.
on the go. Like,
right.
So what we're really doing here is aligning the person that we want to become with the person that makes the choices to become that. And that's
so well
huge.
said, dude. That's so well said. It's so well said. There's for anybody that's kind of sitting there and saying, I still don't get it, be okay with that, because you've been programmed for so long to just chase these crazy goals. I think ever since, I'm not going to get deep into this subject, but I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of studying on schooling and where it came from. You've done the same thing, and I've got great mentors in that field, and we have been programmed from basically the time we started school to be compared and compare ourselves to others. We have constantly evaluated. Everything that we do, who we are, is based on what we achieve, and that's a huge problem in society. And when you can break free from that, you free yourself from those constraints that you haven't put on you, society has put on you. The traditional backward school system has put on you. And that's not a problem unless you don't break it and you think that you want to go here, but you haven't done the work back here to actually break yourself free. And so I went through, like with swimming, right? I went through I'm going to go to the pool Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
I actually remember this conversation.
Yeah. And I have some other stuff in my head that, from my swimming past and being a, semi-professional swimmer, not really, but like swimming twice a day since I was 6 years old and just achieving very high levels there. Forgetting about that or putting that off to the side, I was having a huge challenge getting to the pool Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So what Aaron said was, it's not about going to the pool and having a swimming workout. It's about driving to the gym. It's about going inside. It's about dipping your feet in the water. It's about swimming one lap. So what I ended up doing was I started setting a goal that not only was I not swimming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I wasn't even driving to the gym. So for 1 week, I set a goal to just drive to the gym, sit there for 5 minutes, and drive home. And I know that sounds weird, but if you want to start to program the brain doesn't want, well, Ian, you got to swim 5,000 yards this week. The brain goes, F that, I'm not doing any of that. That's pain, that's uncomfortable. But when I started to program or reprogram my brain to just drive to the gym, my brain was like, this is cool. And I was like, cool, you know what? Next week, I'm going to drive to the gym and I'm going to go inside. So I drove to the gym and I went inside and I walked around, and really it took only 2 days. The second day I was like, what the hell am I doing? Get your ass in that locker room and get the suit on. Got the suit on. I got out to the pool room, and that programming it was really trauma, because when I was swimming at a high level, the water was super cold and I would get pushed into the water a lot because the coaches just wanted your butt in there, and the cold pool room, cold water. And I just don't like to jump in cold water. So I have to get through that. But getting through that is not just jump, just go. My brain doesn't want that. It's going to do everything that it can to stop me. And even though I'm very motivated to go swimming, because my lag goal is be in great shape, right? All the leads I was forgetting about. So it's like, hey, go to the pool Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and be in great shape. Well, my brain is not aligning with my action. But then when I said, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to dip my feet in the water. The first day I dipped my feet in the water, all of my fears were negated. And it was like, dude, the water's like 82. This is great. And bam, I was prepared, right? So I had my suit on, I had my goggles, cap, and I was prepared. I jumped in the water. I said, great, goal achieved. Everything other than that today is a bonus. How much bonus do you want? And I said, I'm going to swim 10 laps. Bam, crushed 10 laps, got back. I literally, the lifeguards probably thought I was weird, but I patted myself on the shoulder. I said, bro, you did that. This is great. 10 laps. Would you like to do more? You know what? I'm going to do another 10. I'm going to do a quarter mile today. I think that's a great achievement. Boom. So all those lead measures of driving to the gym, walking into the gym, dipping my feet in the water, they led to swimming a quarter mile. Then I was having a challenge with the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, because having, at that point, I just had one kid, and then one kid came like right after I started this goal earlier this year. It wasn't Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That was not working for me. So it was either give up on the goal because I have more of a priority to spend time with my kids, or it was figure out how to set lead and lag indicators to get this done for the week, because I have a huge, achievement behind this, which is be in great shape. So now it became, okay, how far do I want to swim? All right, I want to swim 3,000 yards this week. Cool. Guess what? A guy like me who likes a lot of variety and does not like time blocking, does not like to be super scheduled. On Sunday, when I set myself up for the week, which we'll have another episode on setting yourself up on Sundays or Saturdays or whatever you like. I said, this week, 3,000 yards. However you want to do it, Ian, is on you. You want to do it all today? Great. You want to break it up over 7 days? Awesome. And if you want to do it Sunday morning, all at once, fantastic. It's all up to you. No problem. But 3,000 yards is the goal. And giving myself that long runway to not feel forced of like, hey man, Wednesday I had a rough day. My daughter wants to hang out and do videos. Well, no, I got to get to the gym. Then you are stuck between this place where you're beating yourself up because it's like, well, shit, I set this goal and this is important, but then my daughter's important. And what do I do? And then you're in a effort zone. You know what I mean? So I said, look, the goal's 3,000. Do whatever you want. But Sunday at 5 p.m., the meter runs out. And your ass has to have swum 3,000 meters or 3,000 yards between now and Sunday at 5. Now, have at it. And there are many weeks where I was like, I got time. And Friday night, I was like, oh my God, 3,000 meters. This is going to be rough. It's 190 laps. That's a lot. And I had to do that in like 2 days. And there's one day where I had to do it in 1 day. And then after that, I learned a lesson, which was that's the crush it, go after it hard. Doesn't work, not sustainable. I can't swim 180 laps a day. It was going to end my life, So then I started, okay, it's 180 divided by 6 basically. All right, cool. So I got to swim X amount of laps a day. Got it. You can swim it in the morning or the evening. And I started saying, okay, well, what's my biggest priority? Okay, number one is my family. I want to spend max time with family. That's my mission in life, among other things. All right, cool. So that means mornings are out because I want to see the new baby and I want to see my daughter in the mornings. And midday, I'm kind of busy, so that doesn't work. Well, I also want to spend time with my wife after the kids go to bed, right? I've got to manage my priorities. Then it leaves like 8 p.m. on. So I was like, great. Get your mind wrapped around going to the pool at 8 p.m. It's quieter. I'm an introvert. I don't like to talk to people. I don't want to have a conversation with you just because you're in my lane. I don't want to swim with anybody. I'm very selfish in that manner, if you want to call it that. Once I started hitting the pool at 8:30 at night, it was so freeing because I chose all of this. I chose the goal. I got all the stuff accomplished throughout the day that I wanted, and I got the swim in, and I was feeling amazing. And so who I'd become was a person that can achieve anything I want and still maintain all of my priorities in the order that I choose, and I can get all my goals accomplished. And that was freaking freeing, and it leveled me up. And then the pool shut down for 3 months.
And then
COVID. Which is fine.
Well, the two things that stand out for me in that story, and it was awesome to be a part of that journey with you, was one, the barrier between you and swimming was really, really tiny, but it had become so massive because the leads were wrong.
Right.
The lead was like, go to the gym, 190 laps. I'm a man. Watch this. I'll turn into a fish. And just driving to the gym changed the lead in such a significant way that you were willing to go.
Right.
And the block between you becoming like the fish of the sea, that was automatic. Once you put your feet in the water, you know how to do that.
The talent was already there.
So I played soccer my whole life. Like if you walk me onto the field, the rest is I'm good.
Yeah.
It's just going to be automatic. I don't need to think about it. And that's a level of mastery that we can also talk about. But the other fascinating part of that story is that the most important part of that system was your ability to shift the leads as the lags changed and as your priorities changed. And if you want to become a swimmer, you better be swimming.
Yeah.
It's very simple, right? What we're talking about here. But let's say you want to run. If you want to be a runner, some people are like, well, I'm not a runner. Every human can be a runner.
Right.
It's like every human can figure out how to swim.
Sure.
It's just a matter if you want to take the time to invest in. But if you want to run, imagine building a system where you're like, I'm going to become a runner. Well, that might mean you need to run, what's fair, a mile a day. So 365 miles a year. That number sounds scary.
Huge. Yeah.
Right? Sounds incredibly scary. But if you were to break that down, maybe you swim it to 300. My goal for the year is 300. And I know that by doing that, I'm a runner. And where I find running as a placement for who I'm becoming is that running is a great way for me to take 5 miles and run away from my problems for 2.5 and then come just as energetically back to my problems for another 2.5. That's the way, like when I leave my house, I'm like, I'm running away from my problems. I go down the stairs and I'm like, I'm leaving all my problems right here.
No phone. Yeah.
Nothing. I get halfway through my run. So I always track my run before I hit it. When I get halfway through my run, there's like my headphones tell me like you're halfway through. As soon as I hit that, there's something in my mind that switches and I'm like, I'm excited to go back and deal with my problem.
Yeah.
And running, 5 miles, 6 miles, 3 miles in a stint is more about me becoming the person that heals or manages the stress and chaos of my life by running. And so I take my 300 miles. And if I fail, if one quarter I don't hit my 75, it's not the end of the world. Like I'm not a runner.
Or not beating yourself up. Yeah.
I'm aware of what the lead was and what the lag was. And if the lag is to become a runner, so this is where it becomes really valuable. If Ian's lag is, I'm going to be an Olympic swimmer, at some point there's going to be a critical threshold where you either plummet or you rocket ship, neither of which is incredibly healthy, right? I mean, if you look at
it's got to be balanced.
Yeah, if you look at Olympic athletes, they make a tremendous amount of sacrifices. But if you said, I want to be a consistent swimmer, you'd be off to the races just by going regularly. And those lags and leads, the relationship between our leads and lags have to be really strong for us to evolve as a human. For those of you that want more money, you want deeper connection with family, if you want a bigger business, if you want, I don't know, you want to get better at tasting food or cooking, or you want to learn a new skill, leads and lags are the dynamic that will shape how you become that person. If you want to learn piano, it's just so simple. And it feels weird saying it out loud, but if you want to learn piano, what should you be doing? You should be playing piano, whether it's great or not. Every day you should be out here playing 2 notes, 3 notes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. And I'm fascinated by the number of people unwilling
to do the small,
observe the leads to get the lags. They just want the lags.
Most people want the achievement, not the work that goes into it. And
give me that trophy.
Right. Like, I want to play the piano like that guy. You willing to do the work? No. And that's the thing that we talk about at Frontrunner events in our coaching businesses is there is a skill set, there's a mindset, and there's a willingness to do it or not do it. So again, keep things real simple. Write this down. There's a skill set, a mindset, and a willingness factor. Just those 3 factors can go into any single thing you want to do or achieve or whatever. Do you have the skill set? Cool. What skills do I need to achieve? Great. Who do I need to align with to build those skills, or what books do I need to read, or what courses do I need to take? And then it's mindset. Do I have the mindset of a person that can achieve that? If the answer is no, be honest with yourself, then figure out how to get the mindset. Go find a coach, come to an event like ours, go to group coaching, read books, whatever, right? Do whatever you got to do. Increase that mindset. And then it's the willingness. I know a lot of people that have developed skills and mindset, and they're like, F it, I'm not willing to do that work anymore. Great. But now who you become is a person that can achieve the right factors to then put yourself in the, am I willing to continue on? Am I willing to do this work? And then if you're not, you get to choose that. But either way, you choose. Now, there's something you said earlier about the level of mastery. Like, I've been a master swimmer my whole life and water polo player. And I also have a mastery on a forklift, by the way.
That is 3 weird things.
Right? Water polo maybe being the weirdest. But for those of you that don't have the mastery, right, that can't, once you get dropped in the water, be exceptional, or get dropped on a soccer field, be exceptional. The lead measures to get to that soccer field or to get to that pool are the thing that we want you to pay most attention to today, which are, you want to become a runner, the first thing you got to do is lace up your effing shoes. Or go buy shoes. Right? Or go buy your little running outfit at Sports Authority or whatever it is. There is a step before the next step, which is, I'm going to become a master runner, or I'm going to run 300 miles. Your butt needs to be in the right shoes. You got to have the right socks on. You got to have this. So, and if your mindset at that point says, I want to be a runner, I'm willing to do this work. Cool. What skills do I need? Well, I need to learn how to run. Great. What's your mindset? I need also these clothes, these shoes. The shoes are $200. All right. If your mindset at that point is one of scarcity and shuts your ass down and says, I'm not buying $200 shoes, you will not be a runner. Now, imagine becoming the person that can say, I want this goal. I want to achieve this goal. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And then you open your mind instead of closing your mind and shutting yourself down to saying, I want this goal. It's very important to me. It's important because of this. Now, what do I need to do and who do I need to be to get that $200, to get those shoes, to then continue to achieve this goal? So it actually isn't the willingness to run. It's the willingness to get past the stop points to get the shoes to run if you have a mindset of scarcity, right?
It's huge.
Back this thing way down. You want to learn Chinese? Fine. But don't say, I want to be fluent in Chinese. Set the goal for the first week just to sign up for the course. Set the goal for the first week to have a conversation with your spouse or your partner or your children to say, hey, this is a goal I have, and I'd like to dedicate 1 hour a week to this. Are you okay with that? And how can I compromise with you to help you while I take that hour? So you are not going to be ordering stuff in Mandarin in Chinatown in New York until you actually clear things up with your spouse to make sure that you're connected on that, right? So that's a deeper level that what we're talking about here. So think about the things that hinder you: skill set, mindset, and willingness. And in the mindset piece, that's really the piece that's inside of you. The skills, you can get those externally, and then they kind of soak in. But the mindset piece is, if you're not a good communicator, you can't go. I couldn't go to my wife and say, hey, I'm going to take 5 hours this week and learn Chinese every week. My wife would look at me and go, what about our children and our businesses and your podcast? You keep adding more episodes, and so I would have to become the person who can compromise, be compassionate, and communicate with my wife so that she is aligned with my goal to say, you know what? Yes, absolutely. If you can help me here, here, and here, I'm completely fine with you taking an hour a day and learning Chinese, because I see that that's a really cool goal for you and something important. Well, bam, now I've just leveled up who I am, and I'm about to level up my language skills too. So for those of you listening, it's not about learning Chinese. It's about becoming the person who can be the person that learns Chinese.
So I know we started with like, here's how we're going to make your 2020 undeserved. We started with, how is this going to be relevant for your 2021? And the key here is to observe how your 2020 has gone in relationship to your lags. So you might say, well, I hit my goals. I didn't hit my goals. COVID happened. My dream car got smashed by a tree. Who knows? There was a sandstorm that came from the Sahara over to Miami. Like, it's been a crazy year. But
is that real?
That is real.
Oh,
it's totally real. There was like locust swarms. Like, yeah, it's a crazy year, man.
The Bible coming at you.
So the reason we're sharing this now in November is so that you can begin to align your leads to the lags that you want to achieve in 2021. And that might be, you've got a sales number. Cool. Now let's make some leads that are about calls and emails and outbounds. If your priority is your family, let's make some leads that are about family breakfast and cooking dinner together and dance parties and building forts and escapes and adventures, right? Those are the leads that are going to move you and create the life that you want and help you become the person that you want. Our event in January is all about the forward framework, right? How do you take where you are and not only build the right leads, build the right lags, but make this a movement so that it's not just this year, it's about everything forward, so that you don't have to say what's next, so that you don't get caught in this this weird wake where you're just a victim of achievement and building a goal that is so toxic to the rest of your life that you end up actually backwards from where you want to be. And our entire dialogues, whether it's mission and all of the other conversations that we have on a regular basis, way too much probably, are all about doing this holistically. And if you were to see our systems, our goals, my systems, my sheets, these boards, what you would probably depict are two things. One, Aaron is incredibly organized. Aaron was not always incredibly organized.
Yeah, I was going to say, make sure you go into that.
Yeah. I became that person, right? I had to become and evolve into that person. And part of my goals facilitated me becoming an organized person. The second thing you would probably notice is that my life is incredibly balanced. And I actually don't like the word balance when it comes to like work-life play. What I mean by balanced is that as aggressive as I am in business, I am equally aggressive in my fitness, in my health, in my learning,
your counterbalance,
intellect. Yeah, like all of these things I pursue fully, but I've got really strong leads. How much am I reading? How much am I meditating? How much am I journaling? Like these are practices that have become me now. That if you just showed me a version of me to the version I was 5 years ago, I'd be like, dude, that's not me. That's not me. I'm not that guy.
But you weren't that guy. That's the key, is you were not that guy who could achieve those goals.
Right.
Period.
And now if I look at the goals that I'm setting as either leads or lags, they're not intimidating, because I know how to decode and break them down into its component parts so that what I end up with is do this regularly. You want to make a tremendous impact in the world? Like, I know plenty of people, that's what they want. They're like, I want to impact the world. But they aren't impacting the person next to them.
Right.
Or the person in the cafe line, right? They're not passing a smile to the person they order shoes from. They're extrapolating this like huge impact goal, but they're not observing that like the way you make an impact in the world is the person next to you.
Yeah.
automatically, just by being around you, feels what you're about and makes a shift in their life. And you and I are going to impact a lot of people because we recognize that we might be listening to one person, just one of you out there that are like, I need to be a part of this forward framework.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be there in January.
Yep.
And that's one person that's going to eventually, dude, we got years left of this.
Decades.
And we're not worried about lags and achieve. Like, no one's going to come to us and be like, hey man, how many people have you impacted? That's not how it works.
Right.
There's no achievement on this. It's just a lead.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited. I'm excited about January. I'm excited about these conversations. This is a lot of fun. This microphone's great. It's all amazing.
I love these buttons. Look at this one.
Oh, see, we gotta script that.
No, we're gonna do that. Here's what's scary, right? Here's what's scary. Setting a goal without figuring out who you need to be to achieve that goal. Get your pen and paper out. I say it every time. There's only one person, thousands and thousands of people listen to this on iTunes, download these episodes, and we're extremely grateful for that. And part of my mission was to impact the world, right? At a real high level. And that's part of why I have this podcast, is because now that I can sort of pay it forward or pass on the information that I'm learning, that I'm applying, that I'm figuring out works and figuring out what doesn't work, then I can just pass it forward to you. There's only one person from each episode that really gets it. And I think that, maybe there's 50, maybe there's 100, but I believe that you're the one sitting in your car or sitting at the gym, or you're, sitting at your house and just taking some time to listen to this at night or early in the morning during your morning routine. And you're saying, holy hell, man, this is exactly what I needed. If you're saying that, that's you. You're the person. Anytime that Aaron and I speak on stage or do anything in front of a big crowd, I always tell people, I speak at a lot of real estate offices, training people on mindset and effectiveness in their enrollment and sales game, building a business that's worth owning, that kind of thing, sustainable practices. I will literally start by saying, it's just one of you that's going to get it today. And I'm hoping that it's one. And I'm almost definite it's one, because if all of you are just kind of tuned out and here because you want to kill some time, nobody's going to get it. But I'm okay, because I'm still passing it on, and I'm still being heard, or I'm being listened to. Maybe I'm not being heard.
Hey, you're sharing your message.
Yeah, I'm sharing the
that's
message.
A lead.
Right.
That's a great lead.
Yeah.
Share my message.
Right. But at the end of the day, one of you is going to get this. One of you was designed to hear this today. I hope it's 50 of you. I hope you reach out to us and say, and 50 of you reach out and say, man, that was so impactful. My life changed. Remember, Aaron and I's mission with our front runner events and our coaching is that the moment you start with us, the moment you come to one of our events, the moment you sign up for one of our events, right? We have the event we have an event in December. We have an event in January. Like, they're almost sold out. If you're interested, this isn't a sales pitch. I'm just telling you, reach out to us. See if it's right for you. We don't want anybody there because we're making money. We want people there because they're going to get something from this that shifts and changes their life. And that weekend that they spend with us is the shift point that they can look back on in 50 years. They can go, that weekend with those dudes, that's when I changed. That's our mission. And that's super, super critical. But we weren't those guys. Like, we met each other, 3.5 years ago. We couldn't have done this back then because we weren't the people that could achieve that kind of thing.
Not even close.
It happened this year, right? It happened this year. Even though we always talk about it, we still have these kind of conversations. We weren't those people. So one of the biggest questions you can ask yourself is, on a whiteboard, on a sheet of paper, on your journal that you're writing in, put a goal down. Whatever the goal is. I don't care if it's a Ferrari. I don't care if it's make $1 million, or just be a better husband or wife, or be a better parent. Then slice that thing in half. And on the other side of that, write down, who do I need to be to achieve this goal? And that is the most important piece. Because if you're not that person, you're not going to achieve that goal. You might hit it, you might crush it and just kind of like lust after it and put all your energy and power into it. But eventually the muscles get tired. Your brain is the same thing as your arms. You can only lift so much weight. You will get tired. And if you want a sustainable goal and a sustainable life that keeps leveling up, then you got to figure out who you need to be in order to achieve the goals you set, period. Like, literally done.
This is going to be way too much fun.
Hopefully I don't hear this. Anybody listening? Hello?
That's for you listening. That's usually what I hear when Ian talks.
It's effed up. Oh man. Okay. So we're like an hour at this point.
Time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Bring it home.
Oh man. I hope everybody learned something today. Well, remember, it's just one of you that's actually going to really get this today.
Coming to you live from Baltimore.
Coming to you live from Hamden, Maryland. So in wrapping this thing up, you can listen to this over and over again. Just remember a couple things. Who do I need to be to achieve the goals that I've set for myself, right? Think about these three things. I learned this from one of my great coaches a few years ago. You have to measure the skill set, the mindset, and the willingness to do the work. Because you can have the first two, and if you're not willing to do it, you're done. I have the skills and mindset to run a very big business here, and I got a very, very, very big offer from someone, like very high dollars, more than I've ever seen, and made in my life. And skill set was there, mindset was there. However, my choice, because I looked at my mission, my choice was very easily. I just wasn't willing to do it. And so it was a no. And they were like, how can you make that decision so easily? Don't you need to talk to your wife? And I said, no. If I went home and talked to my wife would say, you're not focused on your mission here. You're focused on the money. And it was very easy. I just wasn't willing to do it. Moving to California, people go, oh, you're moving to LA. It's going to be so expensive. Guess what? I'm willing to do it. I will up my skills and my mindset to make sure that I can live the lifestyle that I want in Los Angeles, which is one of my big goals. And I just need to figure out who do I need to become to be aligned with that. It's that simple.
Build your leads. Yep. Get your legs.
So we can talk more about this. If you want more information on it, obviously you can go to the website, ianlobas.com/apply. Jump on a quick call with either Aaron or I, or both of us if you want. It's fine. It's a lot of people on the phone. But we're happy to help in any way we can. If you want more information about the Frontrunner events, it's frontrunner.group.
Frontrunner.group.
Yeah, we need to change that.
We will. You know what? The if you're really curious about these events, if you actually want information about how to attend, just email me directly. Do this one. ASVELKY@gmail.com. Just email me, say hello, tell me what you're interested, tell me where you're stuck, tell me what your goal is or has been. And, we can paste it on the video. We can put it in the comments. We can drop that email somewhere so you have it. But send me a direct email if you want to know about the forward framework.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes, so you don't have to worry and scribble and write. Obviously, you've got a rewind button, ASVELKY@gmail.com. Super easy. Mine is menonpurposepodcast@gmail.com. Super easy.
Just send us an email.
Yeah. Just take that next step and be inquisitive. So, like Meredith and I said this on our first episode, people who are purposeful take action. People who are by default will sit and wonder and think about all the things that get in their way. People on purpose take action. If you feel something in your chest right now, if you feel something in your stomach, if you're anxious about it, if you're nervous about it, that is the universe telling you to take action. You're not taking action and sliding a credit card. You're taking action just for the next step to find out more information about what it looks like. That's it. We're not going to bite your head off. We're here to help. It's our mission in the world. So we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for all the comments, and especially the ones that Aaron and I are doing, the one that my Meredith and I are doing. I can't believe the overwhelming response. It's really gratifying and amazing. So we're just going to keep bringing you everything we've got. And if it helps you, awesome. And if it doesn't, still thanks for listening. That's okay. We're not tied to the outcome. So menonpurposepodcast.com or ianlobas.com/apply. menonpurposepodcast@gmail.com. You know how to get a hold of us. Take action. Let's do it. Catch you on the next one.
Appreciate you guys. I'll push the button now.
Thanks again for listening to the Men on Purpose podcast, where our mission is to educate, elevate, and activate every man to truly live their best, most fulfilling life possible. To find out more about the podcast, our guests, or becoming a man on purpose, visit menonpurposepodcast.com and choose your most purposeful path forward.